Hello and welcome to this video about creating presentations in Google Slides using ChromeVox on a Chromebook. Just as a quick note that this presentation is going to focus mainly on adding text and modifying text. We're not going to add shapes or pictures just because most people are really just going to need some basic skills on how to add text and modify it and things like that to make it appropriate for their presentation to share with students that are in their classes. So let's go ahead and get started. When you create a new presentation, which I have just done, however you choose to do it, a lot of times your cursor will be focused in the theme area. And the reason I bring this up is because that theme area is sort of a panel, and sometimes that can interrupt how ChromeVox works. If you're trying to navigate different areas of the screen, you can kind of accidentally end up in there, and we just kind of want to close it, and that's my preference anyway. So let me show you how it sounds. So a lot of times when you open a new document, it'll say simple light or simple dark or simple things like that. Those are names of themes. So if I press a tab here,
simple dark, radio button unselected, streamline, radio button unselected.
These are all names.
23.
These are all names of themes,
Press
and
search.
As you can hear, there are 23 of them. If I move backwards with the Shift tab,
simple dark, simple light, radio button unselected. In this presentation, tab.
okay,
Hub.
and
Collapsed.
as you can
Exited
hear,
radio.
I'm going backwards, and I'm going to do one more Shift tab,
Close. Button.
and I'm going to hear close, and I can either
Search plus space.
press search plus space or enter, and it'll
Document
close.
content.
It'll close that side panel, and that will just make it a little bit easier on everyone when you're looking to navigate a slides presentation with ChromeVox. All right, so now that that's out of the way, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at some three main areas of the screen that we did look at in a previous video, but we'll just kind of look at them anyway. So the first one that you're probably going to be most aware of is that you've got that menu area, and that's going to include your Google buttons and your pull-down menus and all those other things. If you want to navigate to menus, which are excellent options because they're if you forget how to do something or the command to do something, getting into the menus is a really good way to do it. So if you want to open a menu like the file menu, for example, you're just going to do an Alt plus the letter F.
File. Menu item.
Okay.
With submenu.
So there are other menus here. The second one is the Edit menu. You'll do an Alt-E. View menu, you will do an Alt-V to open that. An Alt-I to open Insert. To open a Format menu, you're going to do Alt-O. Tools menu is Alt-T. Help menu is Alt-H. And if you have your ChromeVox going, which of course you probably will if you're listening to this video, it's an Alt-A to get into the accessibility menu. There are a couple of menus though, for example the slide and arrange menus here that do not have specific shortcuts to open them, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So like I said, I just did this Alt-F to open the file menu. If I want to use the right arrow,
Edit. Menu item. With submenu. 2
Okay.
of 11. Insert. Menu item. Format. Menu item. With submenu. 5 of 11. Arrange. Menu item.
there you go.
Submenu.
So
7 of
here's
11.
arrange.
Expanded.
Okay, so as you can hear, sometimes they skip a little bit.
Tools. Menu item. Add-ons. Menu item. With submenu. Arrange. Slide. Menu
So
item.
if you go
With
backwards,
submenu.
you will
6 of 11.
find
Expanded.
them. Sometimes if there's an expanded menu, it'll kind of skip over the other menus in this row, but it is important to know that you can get to the menus by doing those commands that I gave you before, or just by opening your file menu and using your right and left arrow keys to navigate. The next thing I'm going to do,
New slide. Control
Oops,
plus
I'm
F.
actually just going
Document
to-
region.
there, I just wanted to get out of there by pressing escape. So now that's the first area that I kind of wanted to draw some attention to. The second area is, it takes up about maybe 15-20% of the left side of your screen there, and that's the Filmstrip area. It's an overview of all of the slides that you have in the presentation. Right now, it's a very short film strip area because we have exactly one slide. However, we're going to go back to that film strip area eventually once we have some more slides added. The next area, and probably the one that we'll interact with the most, is called the canvas. The canvas area takes up the majority of your screen, probably 70% of it, or maybe 60, but quite a bit as far as the general layout of the whole screen. And that's what we work with as far as how to demonstrate our work. This is the part that we add text to and things like that, and we'll kind of going to go ahead and look at that. So if I wanted to navigate directly to Canvas and I didn't know where I was in this presentation anymore, I've done some navigating, I could just do an Alt, Control, and Shift plus the letter C to go to the canvas.
Canvas.
And as you heard that. So it says I'm in the canvas. There are more than one part to most canvas areas, with the exception of the blank slide, or sometimes it's title only, but usually there's more than one part to it. And to navigate to the different parts, you're going to use the tab.
Selected. Size 16. Black, 100% opacity. Fontinos. Text box. 1 of 2. Level 1.
So that just hit that tab key. I did nothing else. It gave me the information, like the 16 point text size. It gave me the font name. It told me that it was black, all of that stuff. So that's important to know. So if I wanted to create a presentation title, this is where I would type it. And I'm going to just be creative and call it title.
Enter text title
of
space.
Title of presentation. Now, if I somehow forgot the font that was being used, or I couldn't remember the font size that I had or anything like that, that's actually really easy to find out. I can hold down Control Alt A and then the letter F. So I'm going to do Control Alt and hold down A and then F.
Font Arial, 52 point. Color black. Vertical align normal.
Cool, right? So it gave me that information about that font. So let me just review the key command. It's Alt, Control, A, and F, but you do not pick up your fingers from the Alt and Control when you press the F. So if I'm going to do it again, I'm going to hold down Alt and Control, and then A, and then F, and
Font
then release
Arial,
my fingers.
52 point. Color black. Vertical align normal.
Okay, sweet, right? So now, if I hit a tab from here,
Tab.
all it does is add a tab to this text. That doesn't get me to the other section of this canvas that I might want to add other text to. So to do that, I'm just going to hit backspace to get rid of that tab. To do that, I need to tell my Google Slides I am done editing this area and I'm done. And I want to move on. So that, I hit escape.
Title of presentation. Selected. Title of presentation. Text box. 1 of 2.
Okay.
Level 1.
So it's saying
3,
it's
with 2 items. Untitled
Okay, I'm just going to stop it. But it did say it was 1 of 2, and it said it was a text box. So if I hit a tab again,
text box. 2 of 2. Level 1.
I'm in a text box 2 of 2. Excellent. So I'm going to type Oops, I can't spell here.
S-B-T space H-E
Subtitle here. Okay?
E.
So again, what if I want to know what the size of this font is? So I'm going to do Alt, Control, A, and then F. And you want to do those relatively quickly to get one after the
Font
other.
Arial, 28 point. Color pound 595,959, close to dark gray 3. Vertical align normal.
Now the reason I wanted it to tell you this is because I wanted you to hear what it sounds like when it gives you a value of a color, and instead of telling you what the color is. It told you the value of the color and it said close to dark gray. So it told you what the color approximation was, but it also gave you the color value. and that's what that number is. So it's kind of a neat idea here. So now I've done this title of presentation and made the presentation subtitle and whatever, and I'm done with this slide, and I want to add the next one where I'm going to get into the meat of my presentation. To add another slide, the command is Control plus the letter M, and if you do an N by accident, it will create a new browser window. So you definitely want to make sure to do M.
Slide 2. Selected. Slide 2. Title and body. Tree item. 2 of 2. Level
Now,
1. Tree. With 2 items.
Okay.
Untitled presentation.
Now it told you I just hit Control because I wanted to point out that it told you what kind of slide it added. It's a title and a body slide, which means it'll have exactly what it sounds: a title of the slide and a body of the slide. So, but let me just hit a tab here real quick.
Text box. 1 of 2. Level 1. Tree.
Yep.
With 2 items. Untitled presentation. Google Slides. Google Chrome. Amy.Snowed.
Okay, it gives you a whole bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily need to know. It tells you the name of the presentation you're in, all of this other stuff. But really where you are is in this
space.
In this title of this slide. So I'm going to call it slide title slide
S, E, space
2 because I want to make sure that it's got a title. Okay? So again, that's important. So if I can find out what my font size and color and stuff is if I want to. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press escape here and then go to the body.
Title slide 2. Selected. Title slide 2. Text box. 2 of 2. Level 1.
See, 2 of 2 now. So now I'm in 2 of 2. I'm in the body. So if I press and actually I could press pretty much any key entry, and it will take me into that box. I'm just going to press a space though.
Space.
Okay. So this will stick me into this editing of this slide text. So if I wanted to, I could type anything I want. This is the second slide.
T space F E
in our test our test presentation. New line. I am very happy to help you learn to use with Google Slides. There we go. I want to point out that the text editing is exactly what it would be in Google Docs or in other text editing areas. So, and navigation is the same way. So if I want to, I can just use my control and left and right arrow to go word by word.
With Google, ChromeVox, use ChromeVox to use, learn to, you learn, help you.
Right. And see, the thing is, it doesn't always differentiate, and that's one thing I wanted to show you, is it sometimes runs the words together, and I'm not really sure why it does that. So that's why it's important to be able to kind of differentiate with your arrow keys to figure out exactly where you are. So I'm going to go to the beginning of this line here.
Happy to, very happy, am very, I am.
Okay, so I'm not even sure whether I'm at the beginning of I or am, so I'm going to use my right arrow.
Space, I.
Oh, well, apparently I was by the I. So I want to find the word very.
I, A, M, space, B.
Okay, I want to select the word very. So I'm going to hold down the control and the shift to select the word very.
Very. Selected.
Now, I just want to show you that all of these commands are the same. I can do a control V, or control B to make it bold.
Bold. Applied to selection.
As you can see, I can also take that bold off.
Bold. Removed
Same way,
from
remember?
Selection.
It's a toggle. I can do control U to underline
Underline. Applied to selection. Underline. Removed from selection.
Okay, and it tells me when I add it or remove it. Other options that I have are to make something a subscript or superscript, If I want to make it a subscript, I can do a control plus comma, or a superscript, I can make it a control plus period. I'm not really sure how that would look, and I really am not interested in messing with it. But if I want to make it a strike through, I can do an Alt-Shift plus the number 5, which is kind of a really odd command, but that's what the strike through is. So Alt-Shift and 5.
Strike through. Applied to selection.
So it says vary. So I'm like, all right, so it doesn't say vary.
Space. H.
So I want to put extremely.
M. L. Y. Substituted with. Extremely.
Okay. It said it's substituted because I didn't spell it right, which was very nice that it told me, hey, you kind of messed up here. So it's substituted. So that's nice. So I have this crossed out thing, and then I have extremely. Well, how does it read this? It only reads the text formatting at the cursor position. So if I want to know...
Autocorrect undo bubble is shown for extremely corrected to extremely. Autocorrect undo bubble is
and
shown
I'm not going
for
to worry about it.
correct.
I'm going to just exit from here. I'm going to just hit an escape to get out of this text box.
This is the second slide in our test presentation. I am very extremely happy to help you learn to use ChromeVox with Google Slides.
And again,
Selected.
It does not tell me that any of that is present, that strike through is present. So I'm going to do a new slide. Again, Control M.
Slide 3. Selected. Slide 3. Title and body.
And this is a title and body slide again. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to do...
Text box. 1 of 2. Level 1.
Yeah.
Tree. With 2 items. Untitled presentation. Google Slides.
And it gives you all of that stuff. And really the reason it does is because when it adds a new slide, it sort of sticks you momentarily in that film strip. So that's why it does that. But don't worry about it. It doesn't matter.
Added to select. Removed from selection.
All you need to do is to realize once you've added a slide that you are automatically placed in the title. So again, I'm going to type title slide
size space
3.
3.
Okay, and I'm going to hit escape because remember I need to get out of there in order
Title slide
to
3.
navigate to
Selected.
the next
Title slide 3. Text box. 1 of 2. Level 1. Text box. 2 of 2.
Now we're in that second text box. And I'm going to just enter, this is...
Space. End. Suggested text information.
Oops,
Space.
I made a mistake. So what it told me, again, it told me that it's substituted because I had a typo. Fine, no problem. So we're going to do, this is information about text
space M F R F A T T
formatting. Okay, there are more formatting tricks here that I'm going to show you. A lot of people use in Google Slides or in slides in general, especially when they're doing presentations. Probably the biggest one that I see is a use of a numbered list.
New line.
So I'm going to do a Control plus Shift plus 7 to create a numbered list. So Control, Shift, and the number 7.
New line.
Now, it doesn't tell me that it's created a numbered list. It doesn't say number created or anything like that. But if I start typing,
B E D L space C O P L space P space F E N.
okay? So then if I hit, what I wrote was numbered list is Control plus Shift plus 7. I'm going to press Enter.
New line.
And again, it says new line, but it does not tell me I'm in a numbered list.
1. Numbered list is
But
Control plus Shift plus 7.
If I use
List
my arrow
with
keys,
2 items.
I can find out.
New line.
So I'm going to tell you now. Here's a new one. So a bulleted list.
U E T E L I F I S C space P L S H T space P space P I G space.
So creating a bulleted list is Control plus Shift plus 8. Okay, so if I go up again, hold on, I'm going to use my up arrow.
1. Numbered list is Control plus Shift plus 7. List. 2. Bulleted list is Control plus Shift plus 8. List item.
So
List end.
this will tell you that it's a list item, but when you're editing, it's odd. It doesn't say that. So don't let it throw you. The next thing I'm going to show you, and probably this is the last thing I think I'm going to show you here, is we're going to talk about maybe what happens if you want to add a new slide and you want to change the layout. So I'm going to create a new slide here. So I'm going to do a Control plus M again.
Slide 4. Selected.
Okay.
Slide 4.
So I've created slide 4. Now, in true fashion, it's created the title and body slide. And that's great. So fine, no problem. But maybe that's not the one I want this time. So I want to change that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my canvas by doing Control Shift or Alt Control Shift C.
Text box. 2 of 2. Level 1. Canvas.
Until it says Canvas. When it says Canvas, I can activate a context menu. So I like to give the alternate option, which is Control Shift and the letter X. So I'm going to do Control Shift X.
Menu. With 11 items.
This has created
Press
a
search plus
context.
space to activate.
This has
Press up or
created.
down arrow to navigate. Enter to activate.
This has created that other text menu. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to navigate this context menu with our arrow keys. So I'm going to come down.
Paste Control plus V. Menu
Now,
item.
There
3 of
are,
11.
just FYI, there are other options in this menu. So I could cut or copy, but those are grayed out. So ChromeVox will only tell you options that are available to you. It won't say things like cut grayed out or cut unavailable. It'll only read you what's available to you. So I'm going to come down again.
Paste without formatting. Change background. Apply layout L right pointer. Menu
So
item.
here's
With
apply layout.
submenu. 7 of 11. Not
And-
connected to network.
Oops, I don't know why it thinks it's going to say that. So I'm going to just press enter to show the different layouts that I could apply.
Menu. Application end. Table. 4 by 3. Section header. Row 1 column 2.
So did you hear it said table? It's telling me that these layouts that are available to me are organized in a table. It's not telling me that the layout that's in focus is a table, which honestly was confusing for me the first time I heard it. So this is organized in a table. You can use up and down arrows to navigate it if you want to, but what I prefer is to use a right arrow because that takes me through.
Title and body. Row 1 column 3. Title and 2 columns. Row 2 column 1.
As you can hear, it tells me what the layout is that I would be applying if I were to apply this, and it tells me the position in the grid.
Title only. Row 2 column 2. 1 column text. Row 2 column 3. Main point. Row 3 column 1. Section title and description. Row 3 column 2. Caption. Row 3 column 3. Big number. Row 4 column 1. Blank. Row 4 column 2. Title slide. Row 1 column 1.
Ah, so it popped right back up to the top again. So I'm going to have us apply a different one.
Section header. Row 1 column 2.
I want 2 columns.
Title and body. Row 1 column 3. Title and 2 columns.
Yep, that's
Row
the one
2
I want.
Column 1.
So I'm going to press enter,
Applied layout title and 2 columns.
and it told me
Document
it applied this this layout to this slide. Now again, I'm probably in my canvas, and I can't be sure, but I'm going to go ahead and press a tab just to see.
Selected. Size 16. Black. 100% opacity. Fontinos. Text box. 1 of 3. Level 1.
Now, do you hear it said 1 of 3? This is the title text box, and the other 2 are columns because I wanted a title and 2 columns. Well, here we are, title, 2 columns. So I'm going to call this
Enter text L.
I
Space.
think I might have put the number 4 before and I spelled it out this time, but it doesn't really matter. So now I know I've got the 2 columns there. So I'm going to do an escape.
Title slide 4.
And I'm going to do a
Title slide 4. Text box.
tab. And now, this is the first column. So these are good for pro and con lists. So I'm going to type pro.
P. Enter text S. Space.
Okay. And now maybe I want that the word pro to be a little bigger. So I want to know what size it is first.
S.
So Alt, Control, A, F.
Font Arial. 14 point.
Okay, I found out the information I needed, so I hit Control to make it be quiet. So now I'm going to select that word pros. And I'm going to do a Shift, Control, left arrow.
Pro. Selected.
Okay.
S.
Now I heard it say pro, not pros, so I'm going to come to the end of the word.
End of text. End of text.
Okay, good. So now I'm going to do Control Shift, left arrow to
Pros.
select that word.
Selected.
Oh, and it said pros, so I know I have the S in there. So now I'm going to do a increase font, which is a Control, Shift, and a greater than sign. So I'm going to do Control, Shift, and that greater than sign, if you'll recall, it's to the right of the letter M, or it's the comma, if it didn't have a shift. So
Decreased font size by 1 point. Increased font size by 1 point.
so that greater than sign, it's that period. It would be the period if it didn't have that control or that shift added to it. So it's Control, Shift, and then that period, which is the greater than sign.
Increased font size by increased font size by 1 point.
Okay. Now it doesn't tell me what the font size is. It only tells me I increased it. And I kind of wasn't paying attention to how many points it was. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask it for the font size. So I'm going to do Alt Control A and the F again.
Font Arial. 19 point.
Oh, took it up to 19 points. Sure, I don't care. Whatever, 19 points.
End of text.
And I just did a right arrow to unselect everything. I'm going to do a Enter to add a line. And maybe this is where my pros list goes. So I'm going to hit Escape.
Pros.
And now I'm going to go
Pros. Text box.
to that second one.
Level 1.
And I'm going to type cons.
S.
Okay? And now I'm going to select that word again by doing a Control, Shift, left arrow.
Cons. Selected.
I heard it say cons with the S in there. Excellent. So I'm assuming that's a 14 point because that's how the pros started. So I'm using some kind of logic here. So now I want to increase that 5 times. So I'm going to control the increase again, same place, but suppose I did it one more than I needed to. I'm going to do Control, Shift.
Increased font size by 1 point.
Now let me just check and make sure what the font size is.
Font Arial. 20 point.
Oh, it's 20 point. It needed to be 19 point to match the pros on the other side there. So if I want to take it down one, I'm going to do Control, Shift, and then the less than sign, which is right next to the M, so it's the comma. So it would be the comma if I wasn't holding that shift. So Control, Shift, and then that key.
Decreased font size by 1 point.
And it decreased my font size. So now I'm going to deselect this by pressing the right arrow to kind of,
End of text.
and I'm going to press Enter
New line.
just to make a new line. So now this would be our pros and cons list. I feel like I have enough slides here to kind of show you what the Filmstrip area looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Filmstrip area. And if you'll remember, going to the Canvas area was Alt, Control, Shift, and C. To go to the Filmstrip area is Alt, Control, Shift, and F, as in Filmstrip.
Slide 4, title slide 4, title in 2 columns. Tree item. 4 of 4. Level 1. Tree. With 4 items. Untitled presentation. Google Slides. Google Chrome. Amy.
Okay, so I just hit control because it doesn't need to tell me all that. But basically I know I'm in my Filmstrip. So I can go up and down.
Slide 3. Slide 2. Slide 1. Title of presentation. Title slide. Slide 2.
So
title slide.
When that slide is in focus, I can go to the slide, the canvas of that slide, and make any edits that I need to. As you can hear when you go through these slides, it will tell you the title of it.
Slide 3. Title slide 3. Title and body. 3
And
items.
it'll also tell you title and body, which is like the layout of the slide. So it tells you that it's slide 3. Then it tells you the title of the slide, which in this case is title slide 3. And it'll tell you the layout. And so you have information about all of these things. If I wanted to, just to be a complete and total smart aleck, I could go down to the bottom slide here.
Slide 4. Title slide 4. Title in 2 columns.
I can move slides within the Filmstrip. That's really kind of cool, and I like being able to do that. So I can move that slide. If I can move it up by doing a control plus up arrow.
Move slides to index 3. Slide 3.
So it's saying it moved it to the 3rd position. And if I do it again.
Move slides to index 2. Slide 2. Title slide 4. Title in 2 columns.
See, and it says slide 2, title slide 4. That tells me that I've moved it. See, there is some logic in putting that, giving that title those slide numbers. Ha ha ha, right? So I can also move it down by doing control down arrow.
Move slides to index 3. Slide 3. Title slide 4. Title in 2 columns. Tree item.
Okay. Now, if I wanted to, suppose this was a super long presentation, and I wanted to move this slide to the beginning, I could do that. I could do control, shift, and up arrow.
Move slides to index 1. Slide 1. Title slide 4. Title in 2 columns. Tree item.
I
Not
can
selected.
also move this slide to the end, and guess what that would be? Control, shift, down arrow.
Move slides to index 4. Slide 4. Title slide 4. Title in 2 columns. Tree item.
Which is where it started out. So I can move slides. It's kind of cool that I can do that. Another thing that I can do is if I want to apply something to more than one slide, so I want to maybe delete more than one slide, or I want to do something to more than one slide, I can do a shift and my up arrow. So right now I'm focused on slide 4. If I do a shift and up arrow.
Slide 3. Title slide 3. Slide 4. Title slide 4. Title in 2 columns. Slide 4. Title slide 4. Selected.
So, yep, it says they're both selected. Now I could apply whatever I wanted to both of those slides, but it's just one way of doing that. If I wanted to move both of those slides up or down or whatever I wanted to do, whatever I did would apply to both of those slides. And if all I wanted to deselect them, I would just hit up arrow and be fine.
Slide 3. Slide.
The last thing I'm going to show you is that you can activate a context menu within that Filmstrip, the same way that you can within the canvas. Same command too. So it's Control, Shift, and then the letter X.
Menu. With 15 items.
This is how you could...
Press search plus space
I'm
tab.
just going to press a Control just to have it be quiet for just a minute. And I can do anything within this context menu to this slide.
Cut control. Copy can paste without formatting. Delete. New slide can duplicates. Skip slide. Change back. Apply layout up. Change theme. Transition. Move slide to beginning.
All of those things.
Comment control plus alt plus M.
They're all
Menu item.
in that
Or-
context menu, and I can hit escape to get out of it,
Document content.
and then Control. So those are some basics of how to manage a slide deck. I hope that's been helpful for you. Please let us know whether there's anything in particular you're hoping to learn, like by hitting subscribe or leaving comments. Anything like that, we appreciate feedback. Thank you very much, and have a great day.